Guys, hello. Sorry I've been kind of away, but if I'm being completely honest, not only was I truly busy, but also I don't really know how to talk about figure skating anymore because it all seems very frivolous and just dumb to talk about when there's a literal war going on. And I do feel a sense of duty because I did promise that I was going to talk about the individual events aside from the ladies because that deserved a video of its own. However, once we close this Olympic chapter with the individual events, which I will talk about briefly, I mostly want to talk about how this literal war is affecting figure skating and the statements that some prominent figure skaters have made. And I don't really know how I'm going to move forward in talking about this because we are all, of course, very interested in figure skating drama, but this is affecting probably all of us if it continues to escalate, and it is already deeply affecting the skaters. So let's just close this Olympic chapter. And also I will drop the video with commentator number 2 about the Olympics, the next episode of the You Care Now podcast, because again, I did promise that. So let's jump into the Olympics. Let's close this damn chapter because it feels like it was a lifetime ago. And I just want to be over it so we can just be over it together. Men's. In the men's, of course, the king of the quads, Nathan Chen, walked away with the gold, and I am so happy that this man finally redeemed himself, completed his Olympic dream, and crushed his previous Olympic curse because it literally looked like a curse when he tried to do that same program. I think going back to Rocket Man was the best way to go, and he is a legend. He has left his mark in figure skating. I feel like he might retire now that he's completed this. I think his chapter is kind of closed, but if he stays in the sport, why not? He's won everything he can win. However, he is still the best in terms of jumps. So if he wants to continue to dominate, who am I to say no to that? For silver, we had Yuma Kageyama, the little prince. Yuma, I think, was the person that everybody thought was going to ascend after Yuzuru Hanyu, which we will talk about Yuzuru Hanyu, do not worry. And Yuma, I think, has kind of fulfilled his prophecy. He's right behind Nathan Chen. Nobody was going to be Nathan Chen. I think we all knew that. If Nathan Chen performed, he was going to win. So Yuma Kageyama being silver, I think, has solidified that he is the next star of men's figure skating in Japan. He is so young, so young, especially for men's, which is crazy that 18 is young for men, but literally retirement age for ladies. But Yuma just killed it. He did his job. He was so happy. Every time the camera was on him, I wanted to hug him. He's so cute and adorable, and his energy is just pure and happy. There's something about the Japanese team. Kaori's light of my life, and then Yuma, I think, would be like the equivalent of that as well. So Yuma did great, and I think he has really positioned himself for the rest of his career. He has started off strong, and I think the next Olympic cycle, I could very well see him being the gold medalist if he continues on. In bronze, we have the little engine that could, our collective chaotic child, Shoma Uno, my man. He delivered. I think he was, second to Yuzuru, and now he might just be second to Yuma for the rest of his career. Oh, my poor little baby. He just performed super well. He had the best costumes, in my opinion, out of the entire Olympics for men's, and he always pulls through. He somehow messes up when it matters most, but then always pulls through when it matters most. It's like the Shoma mess. I don't know. Honestly, I'm just happy that he has Stefan Lambiel and that he has finally found a coaching structure that works. Him and Stefan really seem like they are right where they need to be. And Shoma, I feel like he might have one more season. I don't know if he'll make it to the next Olympic cycle, but who knows? He really might want a second silver medal. I don't think he's going to get a gold medal in the Olympics, but you know what? He doesn't need it. He's Shoma Uno. Now, Yuzuru Hanyu. I think Yuzuru Hanyu came to this Olympics to make history, and he chose the quad axel. It was one or the other. He couldn't get gold and try the quad axel and do it at the same time. Like, if he had landed it, I think what he was trying to do, kill two birds with one stone, sure. Of course, he would have been in contention for the gold, but even then, it would have been a tight competition with Nathan Chen, and he chose to make history, and he did. He got his axel, I think is accredited is the correct word, and his reaction to it is super adorable when they tell them that the quad axel was like it counted. And it is kind of sad because he is another one like Nathan Chen that I think his chapter is closing. Please don't attack me, fan news. He's a 27-year-old man. He is a 2-time gold medalist. This would have been his 3rd Olympic medal. He has done it all. and come back and done it again. So I do think his chapter is closing, and now that Worlds is in peril, have they already confirmed that they're canceling it? I think it's still in the air. I'm telling you, this war, literal war, like it sounds so crazy to say. 8 hours ago, NBC Sports reports that Yuzuru Hanyu will miss World Figure Skating Championships. Great. So we all knew, of course, the Russians were not going to go to Worlds as they have been barred from going to any ISU competitions. That, of course, includes Worlds. But Yuzuru Hanyu has been officially announced that he's going to miss Worlds. So that's my prediction out the window. I literally was going to say maybe he'll try to go out on a high and get a gold medal at Worlds. I mean, he already did get a medal at the Nationals. Like, he can do it. He will do it. If he wants to, he can. He is Yuzuru Hanyu. Oh my god. A literal ambulance right now. I am so sorry. Anyways, Yuzuru Hanyu, this was barely a dent in his long, illustrious career. So for all the fans who were mad or sad, I don't think you should be, because yes, Yuzuru Hanyu is probably disappointed, but he is still Yuzuru Hanyu and he knows it. And so should we. Ladies, we can't talk about that. I'm still traumatized. Pairs, thank God, was exactly what we wanted, and we freaking got it. Soy and Han nailed their reaction when they finally just did that last pose, just crying. It was everything we wanted. China got their gold. They did it at home, their home crowd. It was the Olympics moment that we were craving for. It was the closest we got to 2018 Pyeongchang Olympics magic, because that Olympic was magical. This Olympics, mess. But the pairs was the only one that kind of delivered and gave us those Olympics moments, which is what you yearn for. You want people to have their moment. And this was Soy and Han's moment to take, and they fucking took it. And that's what we wanted. And again, another kind of skating couple that I think also might just retire. Like, they have done it all. They have broken records. And I think that it's a great way to go out. Soy has been plagued by injuries, specifically on her ankles, I believe. So I think they are due for just a break and for being acknowledged for how amazing they are. They have an illustrious career. I feel like I'm just out here retiring skaters. Listen, this is definitely the end of an era, because we will also talk about another couple that I think is going to retire at dance. However, in second place for the pairs, we had what I thought was surprising, very surprising, Tarasova Morozov, the Eteri team. Eteri really ended up sweeping at this Olympics in a different kind of way, because her pairs were above all the other Mosvina pairs, which is insane. Like, Tamara Mosvina, the legend Tamara Mosvina, her pairs did not compare to Tarasova Morozov, who usually mess up, but they pushed through, they performed well, and honestly, I'm happy, because I think they are also another couple that might retire. For so long, they have been so close, and this is, I think, the closest they're going to get to the highest medal, which for many people is the Olympic gold. And they did it. Tburice even posted a video of her hugging Tarasova, Evgenia Tarasova, which is so funny, because you could see every time there was a mistake, they would just kind of nail it on her, even though he made mistakes. So they really surprised me and pulled through. I was not expecting this. In third place, we have Mishina and Galliano, who were the threat of the season. They were supposed to be the threat to Soy and Han, and they end up third. Even though it was really tight race, like the points difference, like between first and second even, it was not even a point, it was like tenths. This was definitely the strongest field, I think, across all teams. Like, it could have really been anyone, and even then these results were unexpected. Nishin and Galiamov, of course, had that horrible fall in the team's event, and I think that really did impact their morale and their energy for the rest of the Olympics. Oh, I guess we should mention my favorite, Bojko and Kovslovsky. They did not make it on the podium, and you could see they were visibly pissed. They could not understand it, and I do think the caller was extremely tough on them and being significantly nicer to Mishin and Galyamov, and also Tarasova Morozov. I think the caller had some sort of plan already. The technical caller is what I'm referencing to. Anyways, ice dance. In first place, thank God, Papadakis and Cizeron. They were for sure going to be first. In the same way we all thought Kamila Valieva was for sure going to be first, they were for sure the gold medal favorites, and they did it. I am kind of sad I didn't get the Tessa and Scott moment of the crowd cheering for them, because they truly delivered some of the most creative and different programs this season. They are just beauty on ice, and I feel like they often don't get the dues, and this is definitely a team that I think is going to retire after the season. They've gone through a lot, especially especially Gabriela Papadakis has talked about how hard it was this season to kind of find the motivation, specifically with all the things that are going on now. Well, before it was COVID, now it's war. So even more things going on because we still have COVID. But I'm just happy that they found their moment and got their medal, which is well deserved. I feel this is a transitional point. There's a lot of new faces that are going to be in the next Olympics because these are faces that we've talked about it, Nathan Chen, Yuma Kakeyama, Shomauno, Soyen Han, Tarazo Amorozov, Paparak, and Cizeron. These are a lot of faces that we've seen and gotten to know and have had multiple Olympic experiences, and I think this next Olympic is going to be very, very fresh new faces, and that's exciting. Hopefully, if the sport continues to grow and if war doesn't annihilate us all. Sorry that I'm being so cynical and depressive with this, but it's hard to wrap my arm around everything and talk about figure skating where there's literally so much more going on in the world, which is why I was having a hard time finding motivation to do this video, and even then I'm doing it in a very short resumed way because I just can't talk this long about figure skating knowing that the world is on fire. And I know I've said that before, but the world is literally on fire. Moving on to third place for the ice dancers is Hubble and Donahue, which I know Hubble had aspirations of leaving with 2 golds, but that wasn't going to happen. The team event, they were closer than anyone thought, honestly. They still might get their team event medal because that is still up in the air. But in terms of individual gold medals, no way. Jose, that just wasn't going to happen. Oh shit, I skipped second. We'll get to them. Third place, Hubble and Donahue. They did really, really well. And oh my god, it's like every noise that can happen is happening. This is the worst. I am so sorry, you guys. Anyways, Hubble and Donahue had their moment. I think they made an impact on the USA, and they might still get their gold medals. So what is there to complain about? Second place, Sinitsyn Kasalapov. I think Nikita should count his blessings because his back was really, really injured this season. I was shocked at just how well he was performing. And now with this doping scandal, it makes me stressed and I don't really want to think about what he might have done to get that back in place, pun intended. But they did it. Regardless of how they got there, they did it. They got their second place medal and might also get a second place team medal. Depends on where we end up with that. And that was the Olympics. I am not going to go into more detail. Jason Brown, I loved him. He ended up where he was going to end up. We never thought he was going to be near the podium. And besides that, Kostornaia was the only kind of other fave that I had. I'm not really into an ice dance person. Pairs, Soy and Han, my babies, that's it. They got it. And then in men's, I think the most shocking part was Yuzuru Hanyu, which now, again, feels like 1,000 years ago. And I think Yuzuru Hanyu had the greatest time. There's so many videos of him. I'm just cheering and having fun with like the volunteers during practices, because after the men's event was the first event and then he had to stay all the way there in Beijing until the gala, and he was just chilling with the volunteers. It was so cute. It was so fun. I'm telling you, you can do no wrong. But yeah, we're closing the Olympic chapter. We don't need to talk about this Olympics anymore until there are more developments with the doping case with Kamila Valieva and with the team event and all of that stuff. Now let's move on to how figure skaters are being affected by the war and the statements that have been made by some prominent figure skaters and the Ukrainian figure skaters and how they are dealing with this and trying to stay safe. First, let's read a non-statement by Alyssa Liu. Basically, somebody was trying to harass Alyssa Liu about not saying a statement, and she responded with, honestly, some of the best words I have read. She said, "Selective activism. Girl, it's a war that I don't know much about. I'm not going to, 1, spread misinformation, 2, I'm literally a child, LMAO, and if you're so mad that I won't post about it because I don't have enough information, then I suggest you make an account speaking about it if you're such an activist yourself. Then why don't I see you doing anything?" And that's honestly one of the best responses I've ever seen, because honestly, there's so much misinformation going around right now and so much panic that I think the best thing to do is just support the resources, which I have linked so many resources below that I've seen are legitimate. Please feel free to go down there and support. But just putting out blanket statements of my thoughts and prayers, yes, we know, like, the best thing to do right now is just supporting. And if you don't have any additional information or don't want to promote some sort of resources, then I don't think saying nothing is a bad thing. Like, if you don't have anything to say besides I stand with the people of Ukraine, okay, then you don't have to say anything. Supporting Ukraine shouldn't be a checklist that you do for social media. It's an action. And if you want to help Ukraine, harassing a child to put words of support is not the way. So, Alyssa, you are amazing. And Evgenia Medvedeva, very, very bravely, because she is a Russian in Russia, and if you have seen, there has been massive action against protesters or any sort of speaking out against this war, in terms of cracking down on it. Evgenia put out a story saying, I hope this all ends as soon as possible, like a bad dream. It's not much, but it is something, and again, she is a Russian in Russia, so you have to be more careful with your words. And I think there is more reason to maybe ask for a statement, but even then, you're asking somebody to put themselves in a dangerous situation, especially when they're a Russian in Russia, speaking against the Russian government, when there has been copious amounts of evidence that doing that is putting yourself in danger, especially a public figure in sports, which is so patriotic. So Evgenia is very, very brave for posting anything, even if it is just ambiguous, about being against this war. Then, of course, the latest thing is that the ISU won't allow Russian and Belarusian athletes to participate in the ISU competitions. They say, following the IOC recommendation in order to protect the integrity of ice skating competitions for the safety of all participants of international ice skating competitions, the ISU Council, based on Article 17, blah, 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 has agreed with immediate effect and until further notice that no skaters belonging to the Skating Union of Belarus shall be invited or participate, and of course the Figure Skating Federation of Russia, shall be invited or allowed to participate in international ice skating competitions, including ISU championships and other ISU events. The same applies to the officials listed in the respective ISU communications and or regulations under Russia and Belarus. The ISU Council will continue to closely monitor the situation in Ukraine and its impact in the ISU activity and will take any additional steps if and when required. So like I said, literal war is going on, and of course it is trickling and going to affect something even as minute in this world as figure skating. And it's crazy. It's insane. I don't really know how to react to it and how to treat it with respect besides just putting resources down below. Of course, we don't want war. Of course, it makes no sense that Russia is invading Ukraine for what, for who, just for Putin's own plans. And it's inevitably going to affect everything, including the one thing I talk about, which is figure skating. Speaking of Putin, Kamila Valieva, Anna Shcherbakova, and Nikita Katsalapov, who were all gold medalists as of right now, did receive government honors, which usually are given by Putin, which are the same honors that, when you see the videos of Evgenia Medvedeva and Alina Sagitova, they got certain honors. The same ones, I believe, were given to Kamila Valieva and Anna Shcherbakova, who were the two gold medalists, again, as of right now. And Sasha Trusova actually did not get the same honor, even though in 2018, Zagitova and Medvedeva, the silver medalists, got the honors. And it's just insane to see that they're getting honors from the government. So it's the same government that is enacting this war, which just kind of puts into perspective just how closely tied to patriotism and to national identity the figure skating is, which is insane because in the rest of the world, or at least in the USA and other Western countries, figure skating just feels like a small side thing. But in Russia, it is so intrinsically intertwined with all these things which are now exacerbated due to war. So it was just crazy to see, hearing all the news of Ukraine and then seeing these girls be awarded a medal, which is usually done literally by Putin himself, the man who has put their stamp of approval on this war and has yet to back down. So, which is, it's insane. Like, I don't even know. It's a lot. It's a lot.
3 days later.
So I can't even record a update video of the Olympics because there's so many updates. Literally, it was just reported today, a few minutes ago, that Kostornaia is leaving Eteria Tutberidze to go to CSKA to Elena Buyanova. She did not go to the Olympics. She's broken 2 arms. One and then the other one at Team Tutberidze, and it's all been unexplained. There has been no attention given to her. She came back, or what, because she thought it was the only way, because she knew that all the skaters that were going to go to the Olympics were going to be from Team Tutberidze, and she didn't make it. And now she, of course, is not going to stay there, because why? Why would she stay there?
3 hours later.
So Kostornaia is moving from Tutberidze to Buyanova, Sambo 70 to CSKA, which I thought made so much sense. I thought Kostornaia only went to Sambo 70 because of the prospect of going to the Olympics, because she knew that the three girls were definitely going to be Tutberidze no matter how well the Empress did, no matter how well she might have done at the Angels Lubchenco. It didn't matter. She needed to be in the Tutberidze to go to the Olympics. So I thought as soon as the Olympics were done, then of course she's going to leave. However, it's coming out now through her own comments on Instagram replying to fans, I believe. She confirmed saying, "It was not my initiative. Eteri Georgievna decided so." So she's essentially getting kicked out of Team Tutberidze, which, I'm gonna be completely honest, out of the two rebel girls that left Tutberidze, my prediction of who was gonna be kicked out was gonna be Trusova, not Kostornaia. So this puts a different spin on it, because it means that Team Tutberidze, in my eyes, is cleaning house. They are revamping. They are putting all their resources, efforts, and attention to the people who they think are only gonna bring them either more medals, so the young skaters, or more money, the skaters who have come back with medals from the Olympics. So maybe that's why they've kept Trusova, although I do still believe, really deeply in my heart, that Trusova is going to leave by her own volition. Or Eteri Georgievna is gonna be decided to do that. I just don't see her staying there for an entire season. That's just not something that can't happen. The move from, well, not the move, the forced move from Sambo 70 to CSKA, I think, is very predictable. I think that's where I would have seen Kostornaia going, because it's what Evgenia did when she was still being cornered about going back to Sambo 70, and I don't see her going back to Angel Lubchenco because that bridge has been burned. And then the only other person is Alexei Mishin, who actually likes to work with their skaters, and from what we've heard from Kostornaia, she said she wanted to try for 4 more years, but I don't believe so. I think she just wants to stay in the realm of figure skating. I really don't think she's genuinely going to try to get to 2026. Like, I just don't see it happening. She has broken, I can't get over this fact, she has broken not 1 but 2 arms under Tutberidze. Like, it's insane. Like, people might think I'm exaggerating, but no. She broke 1 and then she broke the other one. Like, it makes, like, of course she's leaving, but she's not even leaving, she's being kicked out. Like, this is the level of power that Tutberidze has. So you will break 2 arms at different points, still get looked over for the Olympics, leave and then come back, be forced to eat your own words, and still it's not you who's deciding you want to go because you've had enough. It's because Tutberidze said, goodbye, we don't need you anymore. Like, that is a power. Like, I thought that Kostornaia, who's always been very open with the press and not shy of her words, would have had this grand statement of, I'm leaving because of this and that. But nope, she said, happy birthday, Eteri Georgievna. And then later on she said, goodbye, Eteri Georgievna, I am leaving because you said so. Like, wow. Also, her comment for Tutberidze's happy birthday was, thank you for your patience and your work with me. Put some emphasis on that patience. Like, it literally makes it seem like at every turn, she just has to kiss the ring. I don't know. I think the conditions of this war, again, we're in literal war. Russia has begun a war, will deeply affect figure skating. And so I think Team Tutberidze is kind of being more radical and maybe more conservative with how many star skaters they're willing to have under their umbrella, as the financial situation, the economic situation, the social situation, political situation in Russia begins to take a spiral. They're greatly funded by the government, and so it's something to keep in mind. And I think Alina Kostornaia leaving by invitation of Team Tutberidze, by them saying please leave, I think might be connected to kind of chaoticness of the state of Russia right now, and they're just making brash decisions. Or Eteri Georgievna literally came back from a plane and was like, I don't want to see you anymore, goodbye. Like, it could be either one, I don't know. It's not insane, because I thought she was going to leave anyways, but it's insane that even leaving, feels like she's leaving with her tail in between her legs. Like, it feels like she's leaving with her head bowed, still kind of at the mercy of Tutberidze, because she's just the one who decides who is in and who is out in the figure skating world in Russia. So you do kind of have to kiss the ring, and that is terrifying and insane. My prediction still stands that Trusova was going to leave. Medvedeva's in too deep. I don't think she's leaving. I could see her leaving the country for a bit while things calm down, if things escalate more, but I don't think she will leave Sambo 70 in terms of figure skating. Zagitova's never leaving. She is the dutiful child. Shubakova is like Zagitova, and she just won Olympic gold, so she's not leaving. And then maybe one of the lower levels, I think Maya Kromik, depending on how she goes, could leave. And same with Daria Soshova. I think they will give it a go, but as the Olympic dreams for 2026 go farther and farther away, I could see either one of those girls either retiring really, really sadly or leaving. But yeah, I thought this was not gonna be shocking, and then it shocked me by saying it wasn't even her choice. And yeah, I don't really know how to end this. As I said, Beginner's Guide Part 2 is coming. I am working on it. Still on the script though. Haven't started editing. I will record a Olympics themed Do You Care Now episode. And anyways, use the links below to try and support in any way possible if you can. And if you don't, just knowing how to stay safe and how to help others stay safe during this unprecedented situation, I think is also commendable. As always, shout out to Timothy, Natalia, Leslie, Jordan, Antonio, Monsaca, Maria, Melissa, Lauren, Katie, Corina, Charlie. Hello, welcome Charlie again. And Han Solo. If you want to support me, my Twitter, my merch, and my Patreon are all down below. And as always, I will talk to you guys later. Bye bye.